Welcome back to the show, everyone. Whether you're a kid who's 12 years old or younger, or an adult older than 19, you're gonna love this episode. If you're a teenager, it may already be too late.
You think you've got what it takes?
Mount Rushmore may have 4 presidents, but it's only got room for 3 baddie slashers. Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers. Or as I'd call them if I wrote for the local newspaper, the Enigma of Elm Street versus the Killer of Camp Crystal Lake versus the Haddonfield Halloween Hunk. I missed that. Improv's tough, everyone. It's the debate you and your friends have had since the dawn of time, or at least 1984. Who's the best horror movie bad guy? Today we're going to settle just that by tossing into the Vitamix your favorite Dream Master, the iconic undead goalie, and the world's meanest trick-or-treater. It's about to be the most violent, goriest, bloodiest threesome you've ever seen.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Here's how we'll determine a winner. Round 1, box office. Round 2, Tomatometer / audience score. Round 3, cultural relevance. And then if I'm still alive, we'll do a wild card round to settle the score. 2 of these fellas fought in a movie once, and it was a good battle. Only problem was, it appeared to end in a draw. But now we're adding Michael Myers to the VIP list, and only one of these 3 stalking stalwarts of cinema will get bragging rights in hell, where I believe Jason has a summer home. Let's get it on. Round 1, box office. The year was 1978. Jimmy Carter was president, the Pittsburgh Steelers were etching their name into the record books, and parents were concerned about their kids listening to that darn Van Halen. But by the time October rolled around, 1978 became about one thing. This new Halloween movie you had to see and keep your eyes open the whole time to believe. Grossing $188 million on a shoestring budget that adjusts to barely over $1 million in today's world, Halloween was celebrated as a horror film rebirth, and it would spawn 10 sequels / reboots that all told have grossed $851 million for a $77 million per film average. Those numbers are greatly enhanced by the most recent entry into the legendary franchise, 2018's cleverly titled Halloween, which would total $165 million in total domestic receipts. And perhaps it was the looming presence of Michael Myers that inspired Jason and Freddy to make their own movies. J-Dog's canon would be up next, beginning with 1980's Friday the 13th.
Killer mommy.
Yes, I know it was Jason's mommy who was doing the stabbing during the first one, but she was doing it for her boy. So even though we don't see the iconic Jason trying out for the local rec league hockey team look until the third film, I'm giving him credit for the entire franchise. It's what his mom would have wanted, and to be frank, I don't feel like dying over it.
That's a good boy.
Friday the 13th flicks have racked up $862 million total bucks over the course of 12 movies, making for a golf-clappable $72 million per film average. Strictly in terms of box office, the gold standard is still the original, sporting a canon record, $138 million resume line. And then there were 2, and for most teens that would be plenty. But then 1984 happened, and not even your worst Orwellian nightmare could compete with the shut-eye action going down on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger, a former janitorial enthusiast with a limited wardrobe budget, debuted on the big screen with a $68 million total domestic haul. Unlike his colleagues, Fred wouldn't see his highest solo box office until his 4th movie, subtitled The Dream Master, grossing $113 million. Krueger and his zany one-liners have starred in a total of 9 movies, raking in a combined bushel of $739 million for an average of $82 million per flick.
No pain, no gain.
All 3 fellas came out of the box office gates swinging for a very competitive round 1. If you look at the top 12 of their combined best money-making movies, each psychopath has 4 movies on the list. But it's Halloween claiming the top 2 spots with the 1978 and 2018 films respectively. And while Friday the 13th has the highest total gross and Nightmare on Elm Street boasts the highest per film average, Halloween is a close second in both categories. And we have to point out that Mikey doesn't have the advantage of a successful crossover movie. Freddy vs. Jason did happen and made $128 million on its way to disappointing me by not declaring a true winner.
Is that what you think?
Sealing the deal for me is the return on investment. All 3 franchises burst onto the scene with a remarkable ability to spin straw into gold. Freddy's rookie flick cost just $1.8 million at the time, while Jason's mom's opening budget was even lower at $550,000. But it was Michael, alligator arms when the check arrives, Myers, who got his movie made for just $325,000 at the time. And it was probably that initial success that made film executives say, hey, can we do that in a camp or over on that boulevard named after a tree?
Every town has an Elm Street.
Even though he kills people without remorse, Michael makes tons of money for his crew, so he gets the win in round number 1.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
Round 2, Tomatometer/audience score. Before I ask the usual question of, sure you made money, but were the movies any good? Let's go ahead and free the cats from their environmental friendly reusable bag. Each of these gentlemen have made some real stinkers. You think a dismembered body smells bad? Wait until you get a whiff of how rotten some of these movies are on the Tomatometer.
You really shouldn't fall asleep in class.
All three guys have multiple movies that are 15% or below. It's Jason taking the brunt of it with a record low 8% for that time he took Manhattan. Taking an unwanted silver medal is millennial of note Paul Rudd in Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, earning just 9%.
Sorry.
And maybe the most disappointing of all would be the 2010 remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, which scored 15%. That's supposed to course correct and get the franchise back on the right path. Nope. Oh, no Robert Englund. Look, I love you, Jackie. You were great in Bad News Bears, but there's only one Freddy, and his name is Robbie.
It's a boy!
But so what if they've had some missteps in their time? There's some good in there too, right? Yes. In fact, there's a ton of it. The Tomatometer Top 10 features 2 movies from Jason, including his only fresh flick, his mom's Friday the 13th, at 64%, and 3 Halloween movies headlined by the overall clubhouse leader and granddaddy of them all, 1978's original, with 96%.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
But it's Freddy, who has 5 movies in the top 10. Hey, that's one for each razor blade, topping out with his original 1984 introduction at 94%. And it's worth noting that while the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street tanked with critics, the 1994 meta tour de force Wes Craven's New Nightmare is currently at 80%.
Miss me?
But before I give the round to Fred, let's take a gander at that audience score. Nightmare and Halloween each sport 3 movies that made it fresh with audiences. Meanwhile, Friday the 13th only has its original bragging about being fresh barely at 60%. And for overall audience score average, it's once again between the Dream Dude and the Holiday Guy. Freddy's average is 50.1%, Michael's is 50.3%. You see, kids? Voting does matter.
Tell him Freddy sent you.
And so does the Tomatometer. Freddy dominates average score over there, winning easily with 50.4% over his closest competition, Michael Myers, at 37%. So, Sir Lord Kruger, round 2 is yours, and I'm sure you'd like to celebrate with one of your classic comedic barbs. Have at it.
Now I'm playing with power.
Round 3, cultural relevance. Hey, wanna guess the real reason why we're doing this vid? Because people still care. They love these 3 awful human beings, and even decades after their debuts, no one in the horror game has come close to the cultural relevance of the big 3. Ghostface? Good effort. Darth Maul looking guy from Insidious? Cool. Weird dude from Sinister? Update your home movie technology. Since Mikey came along first and decided to base his murderous rampages around a popular holiday, it's safe to say he's made it into the Hall of Killer fame. It was already impressive that Halloween H2O saw a dramatic uptick in box office from previous entries in the franchise. And then to do it even more successfully 20 years later, we still crave Michael Myers. If you need more evidence, think of the iconic slasher films before 1978. Peeping Tom, Black Christmas, not exactly household names. The only reason we'd mention Psycho is because of that legendary shower scene, and remember who was bleeding chocolate syrup? Janet Leigh, aka Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. Life is just one big NASCAR track, kids.
We've all had bad things happen to us. The trick is to concentrate on today.
We might not have Mr. Myers' competition today if not for his inaugural movie. And that flick also popularized the use of Panaglide, which is how John Carpenter managed to get those super eerie first-person glimpses from Michael's perspective. Audiences were frightened. Film students were like, oh, it looks so smooth. But maybe Carpenter's best contribution to the legacy of The Shape is the musical score that he composed himself. You know it instantly, and it may be second only to Jaws as far as themes that can instantly scare the hell out of you. Ooh, do I smell a crossover? Could a shark pull off wearing that Halloween mask? Speaking of memorable themes, how about a little kid belting out, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
3, 4, better lock your door.
Ominous lyrics plus singing children? That's a Coca-Cola level formula that equals pure creepiness.
The only thing to fear is fear himself.
Freddy Krueger also has his staple autumnal wear, the sweater, the filthy hat, the dockers, the glove. Sure, it may not be quite as strong as adamantium, but Wolverine can only use his claws when he's awake or having a really intense dream. Like what happens constantly to those teens on Elm Street. What separates Fred from the pack is his speaking ability. Yeah, he can talk. As a matter of fact, he won't shut up.
Wanna suck the face? I don't believe in fairy tales.
His one-liners are part and parcel for any good entry into the Nightmare on Elm Street canon. Sure, they occasionally get ridiculous, but it's hard to accuse him of dad jokes when you're running for your life. Plus, it gives him a backup career as a comic. For tickets, head to UncleFreddySlays.net.
Got your nose!
References by everyone from the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff to Nicki Minaj have kept Freddy Krueger alive and well in the cultural zeitgeist. Plus, he had Dokken do his soundtrack for the Dream Warriors, which proves that the music in hell kicks way more ass. So now it looks like only Jason Voorhees is standing in the way of another Freddy round.
I'll let Jason have some fun.
You hear that? The dude doesn't even need a proper theme song. He can just chill us by queuing up that weird breathing track on Pro Tools. And while Jason certainly won't be competing against Michael Phelps for swimming records anytime soon, his contribution to athletics is undeniable. That hockey mask. It already looked neat, but now that a serial killer from beyond the grave has donned one, it's the go-to mask for anyone needing a last-second costume party idea. Jason has made the rounds, including winning an MTV Lifetime Achievement Award, appearing on the Arsenio Hall Show, and blessing us with some of our first degrees of Kevin Bacon. But it's not just the fame of Jason or his banned Nike commercial that makes him an icon, it's the day he represents. So, the curse of Friday the 13th actually finds its origins well before 1980. It dates back to early Christian mythology. Friday was the day of the Last Supper, and who was the last apostle to show up at Applebee's? Yep, it was Judas. That Judas. He was the 13th guest on that Friday. But all the Jesus plus ones in the world can't compete with what that day represents now. When a Friday the 13th hits, weird things happen to people. Some folks stay indoors, call in sick to work, shut the blinds. Others celebrate it with a party that even the earliest of All Hallows Eve participants would appreciate. And why is all that? Because of Jason Voorhees. Had it not been for his consistent pole position lodged in the forefront of our brains every time we go camping, watch an NHL game, and especially wake up on certain Fridays, no one would bat an eye at the 13th of the month. But thanks to Jason, with a hockey assist from his mom, Pam, Friday the 13th and its favorite mascot serve as a looming reminder to tread lightly. Jason gets the win in round 3, and once you know it, we're all tied up going into... Let's see, if you're a hockey fan, we've already had 3 periods. So, overtime? And yes, Freddy, this one's for you. It's sudden death.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but nothing will ever kill me.
And now it's time for the wild card round, iconic moments. Okay, because this is a safe space where we can be honest with one another, this round is all about kills. I didn't want to shout that from the rooftop at the beginning of the episode, but now that you've stuck with me this long, who's the best at fictional murdering? Step right up, Voorhees family. Like any great mother, Mrs. Jason did her son a huge solid by showing him the ropes. Unfortunately, these ropes were actually machetes and chainsaws. You know, maybe she wasn't that good of a mom. But oh boy, was her son ever good at killing. Jason punched the dude's head clean off when he took Manhattan. He just popped that sucker out like it was T-ball. And in Friday the 13th Part 4, check out this sick corkscrew maneuver that Jason performs on none other than Mr. George McFly Crispin Glover. Hey you, get your damn hands off him. But But my favorite Jason moment is when he straight up folds a poor sucker in half, like he's breaking down boxes to be a good recycler. This kill happens in the film where Freddy and Jason square off. They weren't just battling over turf, it was a war to see who is the best baddie of all time. So now, the undead demon from Elm Street has the floor.
It's time to put this bad dog to sleep.
I love Freddy because so many of his kills are on brand. The guy haunts you in your dreams, so naturally he loves a good bedroom bloodbath. Johnny Depp gets sucked into his own bed, but Fred also got in on the late 80s waterbed craze, as evidenced in The Dream Master.
How's this for a wet dream?
But the best Krueger kills go down in Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. A group of troubled teens, many struggling with addiction, now have to wrestle with burned bastard son too? And it didn't go well. Poor Tina finally gets to be on television, but not in the way she hoped. And this fella became a literal meat puppet years before that band hit it big with Backwater Swirl. But more so than any one kill, it's the spirit of the sick, demented fun that Freddy brings to each tragedy that keeps us coming back for more.
Let's get high.
As opposed to, say, Michael Myers, who rather than sick pleasure, seems to be motivated by a constantly running set of batteries hell-bent on Halloween mayhem. From poor Bob in the first Halloween, can we check how many fellas named Bob actually survive horror movies? I'm betting not a lot. Maybe go by Robert from now on. And then, as if being named Karen wasn't already tough, look at what happens to this one in Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's Halloween film saw the gruesome end of our beloved Octavia Spencer's character, as well as the seemingly indestructible Machete himself, Danny Trejo. Doesn't matter who you are, Michael Myers is there to kill you quick and permanent. And while both he and Jason may not be the most personable of movie villains, they got their job done with ruthless efficiency and permanently altered our perception of Halloween and Friday the 13th.
Halloween! 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 Please Halloween!
But it's Freddy Krueger who not only used his glove, his imagination, and his ability to infiltrate dreams to win our hearts, it was his mouth.
Ever played Skin the Cat?
Perhaps he spent a little too much time on the wisecracks in a few of the films, but he's the consummate entertainer. He knows he's there to kill teens as a means of revenge for their parents burning him alive years ago, but Freddy's also well aware there's an audience of millions witnessing the carnage. As much as he doesn't care about the lives of victims, he does care about giving us the most bang for our buck. The jokes, the creativity, the passion. Whether he's in some random bedroom or on his home court basement boiler room, Freddy Krueger is the horror movie villain that gives us his all every time he sets foot in our dreams. For that, he wins this round and thus the match.
To beat my high score.
Freddy, Michael, Jason, you're all winners in my book. And I'm not just saying that because I prefer to not be hacked to pieces. You are the champions, but it's been no bed of roses for the legions of kills you've committed for both personal reasons and our entertainment value. For funsies, you want to know which of the big three has killed the most? It's Jason. Making his mama proud, the big goalie is hovering at around 157 kills, edging out Michael Myers' total of 140. Freddy is bringing up the rear at barely 40 kills, but today's match was about quality over quantity. Jason might win if all three were tossed into a pit and had to duke it out. All other things being equal, I'd give the tiebreaker to a mom. But not the mom you think. Let's shout out Amanda Krueger, Freddy's mom. She pops up in Dream Warriors as this ominous-looking nun, and I think she's trying to help Nancy and the gang, but her mere presence scares the hell out of me. Maybe it's the fact that she gave birth to a child murderer, or that she's a ghost, or that she's wearing the all-white nun look, the away uniform for any Sister of Mercy. Mandy gave us the best horror movie villain there is. The hat, the sweater, the guy who's probably playing the Jacksonville Comedy Zone this weekend. Now coming to the stage, grab your crucifix, it's Freddy Krueger! But that's just one guy's opinion, and I don't live on Elm Street, have never been camping, and haven't trick-or-treated in at least 11 months. So now, it's your turn. Vote in the comment section for who you think is the best of the bad. Freddy, Jason, or the OG Michael. Thanks for watching, everyone, and remember, don't go into any wooded areas, avoid anyone named Strode on Halloween, and nap with a buddy? Yeah, good luck with the sleep thing.